Welcome back, Netrunners. I am here with last round participants, Eliot and Travis. Guys, good round. Fun to watch both of those games.
Thank you.
So why don't we talk through the first one, because Kit is one I mentioned on stream that is near and dear to my heart. Talk me through Kit, the build. You know, what are you looking to do with her?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a study guide build. So the goal is get Magnum running, get study guide, get a lockpick. Sure. Which never showed up. And then once you've got the one lockpick, then you can pump for one every turn.
Yeah. What was interesting, we were watching on stream, and it seemed like early on you were clearly trying to get Magnum online. But then once you got to the point where you got everything together and you started running R&D with the R&D interface, I mean, there was a point at which it swung and it felt like, oh, wow, Eliot's got a lock if Travis doesn't hit something and get some protection. What was going through your mind, you know, once you hit the first points off of R&D?
It didn't feel as good as it looked.
Okay.
Because I knew that as soon as he got stuff down,
Sure.
I wasn't going to be able to get study guide up and still maintain pressure.
Right.
You know,
it's tough. It's know it's one of those. Well, now part of the thing that contributed to that, and Travis, I'll give you props. You fired the beta test. You
Yes.
snap reach for the deck, and you got paid off with a big protection on your remote. Talk me through what was going through your mind. Clearly, I think that early Sand was a big play that kind of started snowballing the game in your direction. What was going through your mind the opening turns?
Yeah, well, I put the Sand down and had Jackson. So when I saw those two ABTs, I was like, well, great. If he doesn't trash Jackson, I have free fires all day. Sure. And so I was lucky enough to hit, was it 2 or 3 ice?
Yeah.
That first ABT, and then
it was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
It felt like a lot.
It was as much as you needed.
At that point, the Sand server was, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it cost to get in there, but it would really swing
was pretty
my
prohibitive.
tempo.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 to get study guide up to strength. Another. I don't know how much.
It was a lot.
Break. It was quite a bit. And 2 Turings, I knew
big.
I was pretty okay for a few turns.
Now, the other thing I know we noticed, talk me through that opening turn. You put the ice on HQ and you left R&D open. I think you left it open for another turn. Talk me through what was going through your mind navigating that early turn. It seemed like you clearly wanted to force the tempo and get the Sand online and score out early.
Yeah, I was just basically hoping he wasn't going to hit any of the ABTs or Vitruvius.
Okay.
And I was, as much time I can take away from his installation, his setup, is good for me. Okay. And so I saw the Sand, I saw the candy, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put it down. I'm just gonna try to score out as fast as possible, and then try to ice up R&D.
Now, what was going through your mind at that point? Flip side of that, where when he got the R&D interface down, and you knew he kind of had Magnum money coming on, he had enough to lock R&D before you hit that other beta test. What was going through your mind, and how you were going to navigate the rest of the game to get that next agenda scored?
Yeah, I think at one point I was really confused as to what I was going to do, because I saw that he was going to start hammering R&D, and I think that turn that I put the next bronze down over the Architect really was a good move. Yeah. Because I was out of credits. I think I was on 2 credits, and so I placed it above R&D, gained up credits, and when I flipped that over, he now has to have an answer for Architect.
Makes sense.
And so I was just looking to tax. I knew he was going to get in, but as much as I can tax him, make him pull out his Mimic.
Yeah, because I was mentioning, Architect, once it's a Sentry, was the most threatening thing, because if it fires, you get the winning agenda and put it in that remote that you know he can't get into. So I definitely thought that was one where it's like when Architect became its normal Sentry self again, that helped a lot. Yep. So let's switch sides. Other game, Harpsichord, which is always fun to see, new look against Max. Eliot, talk me through what's going through your mind. Clearly we saw that opening grip full of meat damage and tagging stuff. How were you kind of trying to play through the opening turns to set that up?
I remember just the whole game feeling like I can in one turn I can definitely kill him. It doesn't happen on one turn. I can definitely kill him. Normally, really, I needed to get an Astro scored. Sure. Which it was such a bummer when he top decked that one right out off the bat. Because once I've got an Astro scored, usually the way, sometimes mid-season, sometimes C-Source to the kill, but usually the way that I get there is Astro tokens onto breaking news.
Sure, and then kill. That makes sense.
90% of my wins come from that, and so not seeing any Astros after that first one that he stole was sad.
It hurts. So, Travis, one of the early plays that I was interested by, I mean, it was like first turn vamp, and you brought him right back down to your range, to reality. You know, talk me through the vamp include. That's not one in that max build that we always see. What kind of talked you into playing that and making room for it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, they don't, I mean, it's a reg can you say reg max?
It's yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
you're
that's
totally
the
fine.
build that I run, and the one vamp is usually advised against.
Yeah.
Just because you're spending all your money on getting in, and
sure.
you usually don't have enough money to get the corp down. But it's my favorite opening card because, I mean, NBN has sweep, which is kind of, they can bounce back like you saw in the second turn that he did, but they can't play any sure gambles. They can't res their ice.
Yeah.
And that led to that Astro score. And for me, like, I had Katie, and so I was like, I'm going to swing in tempo. It's going to swing in my favor. And so that's why I chose to do that play.
Yeah. Yep. No, that makes sense. And I mean, I definitely, you could see, I mean, clearly the Astro score helped, but it did kind of get the tempo back in your favor where you had time to get Katie going, get Liberated going. Because they did say, the hardest part about playing these NBN decks is once you don't have the score option, once that's not there, you really are just kind of up against it in terms of I either have that one turn where I can get the kill or I don't have a way to win the game. And that is always the, it's the glass cannon approach of do I have enough to do it. Yep. We were definitely, and I made a miscall on my part because I forgot when you did get the tag. I forgot it was C-source, so you couldn't do the traffic accident first because as soon as like, oh God, I see a traffic accident, I see a score, it's like it's all there. Could he get it?
Yeah, no, at that point I was just kind of, I knew that the game was going his way, so it was just, I have the opportunity to tag him, and I had the 2 scorches.
Yeah.
I didn't play the second one because there was no
once
point.
You saw it,
right.
No point in firing it off. It was definitely
Might as well
one.
kill Katie.
It is. And, I definitely, Travis, you had a lot of patience there. I think the card that probably ended up doing the most work outside of that vamp was Imp. I mean, those imps were very big in that game of getting those marked accounts, getting the tagging, the mid-seasons early out of hand. You definitely had the patience to kind of play through those. When you were looking to close out the game, when you kind of turned the corner after he used the Scorched Earth, what was going through your mind of trying to close? How were you going to close out the game? Were you just kind of waited out and play to whatever he did?
Yeah. I don't remember how many points I was on when you C-sourced me, but I knew at that point I was ahead on money.
Yep. 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, and I didn't want to play a Yogg to get into HQ, so I immediately just put a Parasite on R&D.
Sure.
And kind of just build up money until I could get in there.
Yeah.
And Imp is actually the first card I want to look at for Harpsichord. I want to get in there, and that's why when I ran on HQ, I imped one of those mid-seasons.
Yeah.
And that's like the most important card that you can have for Harpsichord. But after he C-Source Scorched, I think it was all R&D.
Yeah.
That was where the win was going to be, and that's where it ended up being.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, guys, great round. Really fun seeing you. Best of luck the rest of the tournament. Hopefully maybe we'll see you back on stream. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, set up pairings for round 3. Stick with us. We'll be back in a minute.